An act of political heel-dragging has major implications in Missouri, rekindling a now long-standing fight over gerrymandering. Missouri Secretary of State waited until Election Day to rule on a push to put the state's Republican-backed congressional map up for a public vote. This was 8 months after the group behind it submitted hundreds of thousands of signatures. People Not Politicians wants voters to decide on the district lines Republicans drew up at the request of President Trump to take another seat in Congress. Secretary Denny Hoskins, a Republican, slowed down the process, appearing to sit on this announcement until weeks after many voters had already weighed in using the new map. Hoskins refused to certify the petition push, saying that he believes state and federal law prohibit such a repeal.
So again, it doesn't matter if there's one signature or 500 million signatures. They're unconstitutional according to Missouri state constitution.
Immediately after this Tuesday late afternoon announcement, People Not Politicians filed a lawsuit asking a judge to take this to trial soon.
He could have brought this in late December, early January. There could have been resolution here. The clerks asked him for resolution. We asked him for resolution, and he refused to do it.
Attorneys argue the referendum doesn't violate the state constitution, pointing to a recent U.S. Supreme Court ruling. And again, they want this on the November ballot. What's more, they don't want the new map used in November. So what's next? Well, normally Hoskins has 30 days to respond to a challenge, but this isn't normal, and it wouldn't leave much time. September 8th is the deadline to shore up ballots for the November elections, leading to yet another legal standoff. Let's get to the heart of the matter and the implications of this with Dr. Matt Harris, political science professor at Park University. Matt, thanks for taking the time today in a busy week. What an issue. You have called this a mess before. It seems pretty hard to argue with that. What's your takeaway from everything that happened last week?
Yeah, so I mean, I think it's been pretty clear that Secretary of State Hoskins is trying to slow walk this. He wants the new map to be in effect, and so to say I'm looking at the issue and trying to make sure I have all the information. Okay, but it's clear that his perspective is he wants the new maps to be in effect. And this is something that I think is going to come down to the courts. He threw a little bit of a curveball saying that this is unconstitutional. You can't have a referendum on this subject. And now, we're going to see what the courts say. But it's a mess because we've already had primary elections with the new maps. And so, to go back on that, if that's what the courts say, that the old maps are in effect, that throws the legitimacy of those primaries potentially into question.
Was that the point of all this, delaying until the last minute? And again, as we said, this is weeks after voters had already weighed in.
Yeah, and I mean, I believe the Secretary of State's on the record as saying, it's too late. We're too far along in the process, and so I think understanding that maybe we do eventually get to a vote on the maps, I think. The GOP would prefer that vote be on if these new maps should remain in effect come 2028. So I think slow walking this and delaying decisions and tying it up in the courts, I think that is strategic.
Let's say the courts agree with the plaintiffs. What would happen then? Because as we said, there is not a lot of time between now and that September 8th deadline, or even just now in November.
Yeah, and not only is there not a lot of time, but if the courts say the old maps remain in effect because of the referendum and they've collected enough signatures, we already had a primary using the new maps, and so that potentially throws that into question. Would potentially, candidates who lost under the new maps, would they come back and say, well, that wasn't a legitimate primary because it's voters who won't be voting in November. It's voters who don't live in the districts that will now be in effect. And so potentially will we see legal action on behalf of some of those candidates? And so, yeah, this is one of those ones where there's not really, I can tell you who the 16th president was. I can't necessarily give you clarity on this because a lot of it's going to be up to what judges decide about this question.
Yeah, well, we know we'll be watching closely. You will too. Matt Harris with Park University, thank you so much. Count on KMBC 9 News and Heart of the Matter as we watch the impact of your decisions at the polls and these new races and issues taking shape between now and November. It's all on air and online at KMBC.com. We're back after this.